Good afternoon. Yes, it's been a while since I've done a YouTube video. This is going to be done in parts. This one, because I will be doing a reaction to Ahsoka Tano, episode 1 and probably episode 2. It depends on how I am feeling. On August 17th, I had surgery to have a tumor that was not cancer removed from my head. They did have to replace the squirrel on the wheel that was going round and round in my head because it had died, and replaced it with a ferret. They had to repaint the space for rent sign in there. But I'm here. I have been very easy and very careful and not seeing anything on Ahsoka Tano, but this is my review. I will watch a few minutes of each of Ahsoka Tano, and when I feel like it's enough, I will probably stop it and make some editorial comments. Let's get into this. This is the series I have been waiting a long time for. The return of Grand Admiral Thrawn, Ezra Bridger, and the crew from the Rebels, Star Wars Rebels. Be back in a minute or two. Just a brief note at the beginning part of this Ahsoka Tano, when they're doing kind of like an old classic Star Wars with the written script at the beginning, we mentioned that she is bringing Morgan Elsbeth to transported to the Republic for trial. Morgan Elsbeth and Ahsoka was in The Mandalorian season 1, where we finally see Ahsoka Tano for the first time, and the first mention of Grand Admiral Thrawn. So this is going to be interesting. I believe it's the same actress who played Morgan Elsbeth in that episode of Mandalorian. We see a Republic transport, and we finally see Ray Stevenson's character and who plays a Dark Jedi, and his Padawan. This ought to be interesting. I mourn the loss of Ray Stevenson, who played Volstagg in the Thor movies, and I was so excited to hear him playing a bad guy in these movies, this series. This Dark Jedi, played by Ray Stevenson, seems extremely powerful, even able to force choke, kind of like Darth Vader did in the first Star Wars movie. Damn, I wish the actor hadn't died. I'd like to have seen them keep him around. I don't know if he dies at the end of the series, but this is interesting. He's wiping out the crew with him and his Padawan, as I guess they're rescuing the governor, Morgan Elsbeth. Next scene looks really interesting. It's on looks like it's the ruins of a Jedi temple in Ahsoka Tano. And Morgan Elsbeth, right before this, says to the Dark Jedi, mentions the name of Ahsoka Tano. The name of the first episode is Master and Apprentice, which would be the Dark Jedi and the Padawan. What that usually means, I thought Sith Lord, but maybe not. But they're saying they're not Sith Lords. Let's find out. Ahsoka comes across what I believe was a Jedi holocron, which we saw in the Star Wars Rebels, and probably in other things. It's a treasure trove of Jedi knowledge, and comes across what looks like 3 androids who are there to get it from her as she comes outside from there's a hidden underground thing inside the Jedi Temple. This is a little bit slow going, but it's picking up steam, and I'm looking very forward to what's going on right now. Oops, 4 androids, not 3. We are reintroduced from the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon to an android who taught Jedi younglings the secrets of how to create and how to use lightsabers. I believe he was the voice in the cartoon of Doctor Who's famous David Tennant, and he is playing doing the voice again in this series. Didn't know he would be in this quick. I hope he has a major role in this show. I don't know if the name of the ship that Ahsoka is using or the android is using, Ahsoka is using, but they use the word fulcrum. Fulcrum was the code name used by several agents within the Empire who were working for the rebellion in the Star Wars Rebel. I thought that was a neat little side bit. Ahsoka and the android lands on a ship, and we come face to face for the first time in a live-action version of Hera, who was part of the Star Wars Rebels, which I think is neat, seeing some of the classic Star Wars Rebels characters now live action. They bring up Grand Admiral Thrawn, realize that he may still be alive. Well, we know he's still alive. And they talk about that maybe Ezra Bridger, who was also part of Star Wars Rebels and was a Padawan to a Jedi named Kanan, might still be alive. Now on Lothal, there's a some kind of celebration of the liberation of Lothal, which was the end of Star Wars Rebels. And Sabine Wren is supposed to be speaking, but she took off on a motorcycle-like thing, and we see her. First time seeing her live. I'm really enjoying this better than I thought I would. After the scene with Sabine Wren, they are back at the destroyed Jedi Temple, above ground, where you see the Padawan, Dark Padawan, and I assume her master, wandering around, looking around. Star Wars canon talks about the Night Sisters. They're witches that use the powers of the Force. I thought all of them were destroyed. The only last member of that legacy was Darth Maul, who was the child of some of these women. But apparently Morgan Elsbeth is one of the Dark Witches, and they are in the temple that I thought was that Ahsoka had invaded, that was blown up at the beginning of the episode, was the Witches' Temple, Dark Witches' Temple. So I stand corrected. This is really starting to get interesting. Okay, in the ruins of the Dark Witches' Temple, above ground, we see the Dark Jedi, his Padawan, Morgan Elsbeth, and this mysterious guy in a dark garb that we can't see him. Oh, God, I hope it's not Ezra Bridger gone evil. But I have a feeling it's going to be Ezra Bridger from the Star Wars Rebels gone to the dark side. I guess until Grand Admiral Thrawn is back, Morgan Elsbeth is in charge. She seems to be giving the orders to the Jedi and the Dark Jedi. And apparently, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3 of them. The 2 that we can see the features of scare me, but the one that we can't see much of really scares me. I have a feeling he's the bigger threat. that we were told about. The Dark Jedi's apprentice is sent, I thought it was the other guy, to Lothal. I don't know if they're sent there to kill Sabine Wren, capture Sabine Wren, or what. Sabine Wren reunites with Ahsoka and the android. Sorry, I gotta look up to see what the name of the character David Tennant is playing. I had already read and heard that Sabine had been Ahsoka's Jedi Padawan, and this is the first time Sabine called her master it's the first episode, so I wasn't expecting a lot. So this was interesting. The fact that they brought the Night Sisters in this shows that they're really bringing into canon a lot of classic Star Wars stuff. Don't kill me, Star Wars fans. I'm at the point where they revealed that the Dark Jedi, the male, is Baylan Skoll, who disappeared at the end of the Clone Wars. And he had was trained by the android and know how to build a lightsaber. Apparently, Ahsoka told Sabine, you can't, that star map cannot leave the ship. It has to stay on there. And Sabine and the star map left the ship when Ahsoka was talking to the android about the Dark Jedi. So I'm guessing now is when the Dark Jedi will have its first meeting with Sabine, and probably Ahsoka coming up. Oops, correction. They will have their first confrontation with the Dark Apprentice. Not because the Master and the mysterious other guy are not there. Never mind. Ahsoka and Hera start talking about Sabine being Ahsoka being Sabine's master, and they were making jokes about Ahsoka probably not being that easy with her master, and they bring up Anakin for the first time, and it goes, he never got to finish her training. I believe still at this point she doesn't know that Anakin was the Vader. This lightsaber duel between Sabine and the Dark Jedi apprentice is pretty good, except I think Sabine's a little bit too rusty. Way too rusty. Did they just kill off Sabine Wren in the first episode? She got it right through the stomach, or the chest. And it says it's dedicated. That was really gut-wrenching to our friend Ray, in dedication to Ray Stevenson. I love this episode. I can't wait for episode 2. It will be done later today.